love after 60. If a man acts like this, it means they miss you all day. 90% women don't know. The older men who miss you most aren't the ones thick. I miss you every 5 minutes. They're not the ones posting about you or making it obvious to everyone around them. The real signs that you're consuming someone's thoughts while you're apart. They're quieter, they're deeper, and if you're looking in the wrong places, you'll completely miss them. After 60, men rarely say it out loud. Welcome back to my channel. It's Vernon again. In this video, I'm going to reveal 5 ways how men after 60 actually behave when they miss you all day, and why these subtle actions often mean far more than words. The issue before we begin, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future conversations about love, attachment, and emotional truth after 60. Now let's start with the first sign that men show instinctively when you're already living in their thoughts. 1. He finds small reasons to reach out. It's rarely dramatic. He might send a short message, share something he came across, or ask a simple question. He could have answered himself. On the surface, it looks casual, but psychologically, it isn't. Men at this stage of life don't reach out unless something pulls them. When you're on his mind, his thoughts naturally look for an outlet, and contact becomes that outlet. He isn't calling to fill time, he's calling to feel connected. Each small interaction reassures him that the emotional thread between you still exists. This happens because missing someone creates a quiet emotional restlessness. It's not dramatic or overwhelming, but it's persistent. His mind drifts back to you during ordinary moments, and that inner pull looks for a way to settle. Reaching out becomes his way of easing that feeling, even if he doesn't consciously realize why he's doing it. Even a brief exchange, a short message, a quick call, a shared thought, gives him a sense of closeness. It reassures him emotionally for a moment. The distance softens, and he feels more at ease. That small connection brings relief, the kind that comes from feeling emotionally tethered, rather than alone. He may never say, "I miss you." In fact, he might not even recognize the feeling himself, but his actions speak clearly. When he keeps finding reasons to connect, his behavior is quietly revealing what his words never will. That you've been on his mind far more than he lets on. After 60, men often express longing through action rather than words. When he keeps finding gentle excuses to connect, it's not coincidence. It's his way of staying emotionally near you throughout the day, one small moment at a time. And when reaching out isn't enough to settle that feeling, it begins to show up in another way through how closely he pays attention. 2. He remembers small details you never thought mattered, things you mentioned once casually, a preference, a concern, a story you didn't think he noticed, and then unexpectedly he brings it up later, accurately, effortlessly. This isn't about a good memory, it's about emotional attention. When a man misses you, doing so, the details become anchored. Your words don't just pass through him, they stay. Remembering them is his quiet way of staying connected, even when you're not there. Psychologically, this happens because what we emotionally value, we mentally revisit. Each remembered detail is evidence. He's not just thinking about you, he's thinking with you, carrying parts of your conversations into his daily life. After 60, men rarely memorize things to impress. They remember because it matters to them. When he recalls the little things without effort, it's a clear sign that after 60, men are no longer trying to impress through performance or clever gestures. They don't store information to prove anything. When a man remembers, it's because something genuinely matters to him. The details stay because they're tied to emotion, not effort. When he recalls small things about you without hesitation, something you like, something that worried you, a passing comment you made, it means your presence has been echoing in his mind. Those details surface naturally because he's been revisiting moments with you throughout the day. That's why this sign is so revealing. He may not even recognize the feeling himself. Have you ever been surprised when a man remembered something about you that you barely remembered saying yourself? Share your experience in the comments. I'd love to hear it. As those memories aren't enough to satisfy what he feels, his longing begins to surface in the other way he seeks your presence, sometimes more than he realizes. 3. He looks for ways to be around you. Even without a clear reason, he might suggest meeting up casually, extend a conversation longer than necessary, or find reasons to stay a little more present in your world. On the surface, it feels natural, but emotionally, it's intentional. At this stage of life, men don't seek proximity unless it brings them comfort. When he misses you, being near you helps regulate that feeling. Your presence calms him, it grounds him. Even if he doesn't name it as longing, his body and emotions know where they want to be. Psychologically, this happens because missing someone creates a pull toward familiarity and emotional safety. He isn't chasing excitement, he's seeking ease. Being around you gives him a sense of emotional continuity, as if the day feels more complete when you're part of it. He may never say he missed you all day. In fact, many men after 60 don't have the language or the habit of naming that feeling directly. But behavior doesn't need translation when he consistently finds his way back into your space, your conversations, and your time. He's revealing something quietly and honestly. It says that being around you brings him ease, familiarity, and emotional grounding. His day feels more settled when you're part of it. Even if he can't articulate why, his actions show that your presence gives him a sense of belonging. His heart already knows where it wants to rest. It moves toward you instinctively, long before his words are ready to follow. And in that gap between feeling and expression, his behavior becomes the clearest truth he offers. There comes a point where closeness by itself no longer settles what he feels. That's when his longing shifts inward, showing up in the way his thoughts repeatedly return to you, even when you're nowhere near, which we'll explore right this. 4. His mood change is based on your presence or absence. When you're present, he seems lighter, calmer, more engaged. Conversation flows more easily. He laughs a little more. Even his body language softens. And when you're not there, something feels slightly off, less animated, more distant, more contained. It happens because your presence has become emotionally regulating for him. Being around you brings a sense of balance to his day. It steadies his thoughts. It gives him a feeling of quiet reassurance that everything is in its place. Psychologically, this matters because we're most affected by the people who influence our emotion. If your presence improves his mood and your absence creates a noticeable dip, it means you've already become part of his emotional rhythm. His nervous system has learned to associate you with comfort and stability. He may never consciously connect these emotional shifts to you. He might not stop and think about why his day feels lighter when you're around, or why there's a subtle heaviness when you're not. To him, it just feels like a change in mood, something he doesn't analyze or question. But patterns don't lie. When your presence consistently lifts him and your absence quietly weighs on him, it reveals something deeper at work. His emotional state has begun to orient around you. Without realizing it, he's carrying the feeling of you with him throughout the day. That's why this sign matters so much. It shows that missing you isn't a passing thought. It's become part of his emotional landscape. Long before he admits it to himself, his feelings are already responding to you as someone who matters. Share this video with someone who might recognize these signs or need a little clarity about what they're feeling. Sometimes understanding comes from seeing it reflected through someone else's story. Beyond changes in mood, another sign begins to appear, one that reveals how deeply you've already settled into his inner world. 5. He replays conversations and brings them back later. The 5th sign a man misses you all day after 60 is that he replays your conversations and then brings them back into new moments. He references something you said earlier. He continues a topic you thought had ended. He connects today's conversation to something you shared days ago. This isn't accidental. It's emotional replay. When a man misses you, his mind revisits the moments that made him feel close to you. Your voice, your expressions, the way you reacted. All of it lingers. Those conversations become a kind of emotional refuge he returns to during the day. Bringing them back later is his way of keeping that connection alive. Psychologically, replay is a strong indicator of attachment. We only revisit interactions that mattered to us emotionally. If he's carrying pieces of your conversations forward, it means you've stayed with him beyond the moment itself. He may never say he's been thinking about you all day. Many men don't know how to articulate that kind of inner experience, especially later in life, but when words you shared yesterday return naturally in today's moment, they reveal what his silence does not. Those resurfacing thoughts mean your conversations. You weren't just listened to. You became part of his internal world. Your voice, your perspective, your presence continued to live in his mind long after the moment ended. That's the quiet truth of this sign. You were held in his thoughts without effort, without intention, and without needing constant contact. And that kind of ongoing presence is one of the clearest indicators that missing you has already become part of his emotional life. After 60, missing someone rarely shows up in obvious declarations or dramatic gestures. It reveals itself quietly through patterns of attention, memory, and emotional response. The signs we've explored aren't about words, they're about behavior. Small reach-outs, remembered details, a pull toward your presence, shifts in mood, and the way conversations linger all point to the same truth. You become emotionally significant to him. Most men at this stage of life don't consciously label what they feel. They simply move toward what brings them comfort, calm, and connection. When a man misses you, his actions follow long before his words do. And those actions tell a story that's far more honest than anything he might say out loud. If you recognize these signs, it doesn't mean you need to rush or respond with certainty. It simply means something meaningful is already taking shape beneath the surface. Emotional bonds often begin quietly and grow strongest when they're allowed the space to unfold naturally. If this video helped you see things more clearly, take a moment to like it and share it with someone who might need this insight too. Subscribe to my channel for more honest conversations about love and connection after 60, and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos. I'm Vernon. Thank you for watching my video till now, and see you next time.